How having money affects US. A good social status offers many advantages, but it can also make US more selfish. We explain how having money affects US. Social inequality is growing. The percentage of the population at risk of poverty has increased in recent years. On the other hand, 10% of the world's population has more than 70% of global wealth. Being in one or the other group can affect your health, your quality of life and your opportunities. It can even change your personality. We will explain how having money affects US. There are usually clear differences between rich and poor people. Their attitudes, behavior, visions of life and, above all, of inequality differ in important ways. In fact, it seems that the status confirmed by money changes not only the material possibilities, but also the psychological processes. This fact has been confirmed by various studies. The effects of having money. Some of the most relevant results have been found in a series of studies conducted by the University of California, USA. In the Matador experiment, several pairs of volunteers were asked to play this famous game while the researchers observed their behavior. From the start, unequal and unfair relations were established between the two parties. At random, one of the players was awarded a series of advantages and privileges. E.g., rolling the dice twice, starting with twice as much money and receiving more money with each win. One would expect that the privileged player in this situation would feel uncomfortable and would somehow try to help his opponent and create some balance. After all, they knew that their advantage was completely accidental. But the opposite happened. In fact, within minutes of starting the game, the privileged players began to be domineering, disrespectful and unsympathetic. They also began to show more signals of dominance and strength via their postures and body language. They boasted, for example with their wealth, slammed their pieces down hard on the board and took a higher percentage of the food that had been placed on the table for both of them. Moreover, they began to be disrespectful and arrogant towards their opponents. What surprised the researchers the most, however, was that at the end of the game, when asked about their victory, the winners took full credit for it. They highlighted their insight, strategy and good work, ignoring the clear advantage they had had. Having money numbs US to inequality. The above findings make it clear that people with money often consider themselves to have deserved it more than those without. By establishing themselves in this supposed meritocracy, they become more desensitized to social inequalities. On the other hand, another study showed that if we attribute poverty to situational factors, taking into account the disadvantage of the poorer people, we become less tolerant to inequality and more inclined to seek social balance. Several studies attempted to enhance the privileged participants' awareness of their partner's disadvantages. It helped them to strengthen their situational attributions through various exercises. After this, their support for inequality in the short and long term was reduced. Money affects nutrition and health. Another way that having money affects us is related to our physical health. It has actually been found that social status can be related to a high caloric intake and thus increased weight. In the Matador experiment, after finishing the game, participants were offered a buffet lunch. It was found that the losers consumed significantly more calories than the winners. This appeared to be mediated by their increased stress and a decreased sense of pride and power due to their poor performance in the game. Now translating this to real life, if a high caloric intake occurred on a daily basis, it would explain why there are usually more obese people in the lower social strata. Money increases unethical behavior. In addition to all of the above, Having money seems to have a negative impact on our attitudes and ethical behavior. In fact, it significantly reduces them. Indeed, the research has shown that wealthier people are more likely to lie in negotiations, cheat for profit, and make unethical decisions. They are also more likely to break the law while driving. Having more money is associated with corruption and unethical behavior. The importance of being aware of the effects of money. Although the previous results are not conclusive and it is not possible to generalize, they should certainly prompt thought. They indicate that we are often not aware of the situations of disadvantage or vulnerability in which many people find themselves. We don't have to be millionaires to be victims of the kind of prejudice where we believe we deserve everything we have and show insensitivity to those who have less. With the right reflection, it is possible to correct this cognitive tendency and become more aware of injustice and inequality. Therefore, you should always try to be empathetic and never lose sight of the privileges you have.